Happy New Year, and I hope things are going well. My name is Kemi. I'm the founder of Common Sense, and we just thought we would do a little video giving you updates as to where we are, but also some of the things you can look forward to from us, but also from politics, from global politics this year. I should start by just saying thank you, right? Because we've now reached over 5,000 subscribers and we're nearing 500,000 views on this channel. That's crazy to me, right? Because we only really started posting consistent videos last year. And last year, unfortunately, I had a major family emergency that pretty much took me out for half the year. That was not the plan. But of course, when, bereavement happens and something like that, you have to take time off. You just have to. And the person who left was also one of the biggest supporters of this channel. So for many reasons, I just want to thank you for being understanding of the sort of topsy-turvy time we are in. The truth is, we are not Sky News, right? We are not this major network with 1 million employees. We are a small company trying to make democracy healthier by bringing people together. We're doing it on a shoestring budget. And for that reason, there's only so much we can achieve, right? But with your support, if you're a subscriber, if you're a member of the network, you can join, by the way, if you go to join.tcsnetwork.co.uk. We've been able to throw some punches, right? And this sort of David Goliath fight, we've thrown some punches, we've broken ground, and I think this year will be amazing, so long as you're part of us and you're part of our community. So do join and be a part of things. Okay, so what are some things you can expect from us? Well, this year, we're gonna be experimenting. This is our experimental year, right? So you'll see some new podcasts, you'll see some new shows, and what I'm counting on really is for you to always give us feedback, right? To tell us this is working, this is not working, I'm enjoying this, I'm not enjoying that. That will help us figure out what our output as a channel should be. Politically, there are lots of interesting things happening. I'm recording this as Donald Trump has been inaugurated. So the first big thing I think you have to watch out for is how Trump's return to the White House is going to affect the whole world, right? Because America often sets the political sort of temperature for a lot of the world. Trump's return is being seen as a sort of vindication for far-right populism. I think we'll see that spread, right? And I'll talk about this later, but Reform Party in the UK, Germany, France, we're going to see similar things happening there. So that's something to watch out for. The number two thing, of course, is Israel and Palestine and what that means for the wider Middle East. Of course, based on when you're listening to this, there's an agreed ceasefire deal on the table. Both parties have signed. We've seen some prisoners and detainees released by Israel. Hamas has also released some hostages. And I mean, it's important to watch this closely this year because, of course, this is a multi-stage ceasefire deal. Biden's been very clear in saying he hopes it leads to a long-term peace in the Middle East. But of course, because there's so many stages, each party needs to, and there's so much mistrust of all parties involved, including Saudi Arabia, one of the countries that was involved in brokering the deal. It's going to be very precarious because at every single step, the whole deal could fall apart. And so you'll have to be watching closely to ensure that Israel's keeping its side of the bargain, but at the same time that Hamas is keeping their end of the bargain. And of course, all displaced people in Palestine are allowed to return. Rebuilding can take place. A two-state solution is still on the table. All these things we'll have to watch. So it's in no way over, nor is the news story dead. It's very much active. The third thing I think will be interesting, if you're watching this from the UK, is what's going to happen back home. Of course, Keir Starmer doesn't have the highest approval ratings, but doesn't really matter because that's not how our politics works. But what does happen on the other side is quite fascinating. Kemi Badenoch, who is now leading the Conservative Party, she has a real big job in her hand, right? Because she has to rebuild the party. The party was decimated in the previous election. She has to rebuild it. She has to show leadership, and so far she isn't really doing so. A lot of people are disgruntled with what she's doing, and then you've got Reform and what's happening with the Reform Party. Of course, Nigel Farage is surging in the polls. He's experiencing that thing you get when you're in opposition, where you can just say anything, right? Well, I think the real test this year, once the honeymoon period is over with Reform, is really starting to ask, what do they have to offer? I mean, what are they reforming really? As far as I'm concerned, Nigel Farage kind of adult political life has been all about Brexit, right? Which probably, based on all assessments, hasn't been a roaring success for the UK. But I haven't really seen him speak about anything else. Like, he speaks in vague terms about the markets. He speaks in vague terms about sort of GDP. But what's the policy sort of prescription of reform? What are they trying to achieve? What other ideas they have? Can they actually be a leadership party? Can they be ready in 4 years' time when we go back to the polls? What happens with the Conservative Party, I think, will be a really big thing to watch. And do they merge? Do they not merge? Does Kemi stay as leader? Does Nigel stay as leader? We've already seen Elon Musk tweeted, and I'm not sure how seriously to take this, that he doesn't believe Nigel Farage should be the leader anymore. Now, is that him just kind of being Elon Musk? Does he mean it seriously? There's a whole unresolved sort of bit there, which I think will be interesting to watch this year. The fourth thing, I think, actually, will be to take a look at what happens with tech parties or kind of new tech parties. Because in many ways, the mainstream media is kind of done. So having a conversation with someone not too long ago about this, and we were saying, well, print, the mainstream media, and when I say, I mean, so the legacy media, the Sky, the BBCs of the world, I think we're getting to a stage where very soon these sort of platforms will be sort of what print was like when you had the rise of the internet, where people still use them, but it becomes this kind of niche sort of interesting product rather than the mainstream, because new media streams are starting to do really, really well. Now, what we've seen with a lot of tech sites, where a lot of sort of new media lives, is a massive pivot to the right. Whether it's Mark Zuckerberg and his chain dangling new authentic self given £1 million at the Trump inauguration, whether it's the Google CEO Musk, all these platforms are seemingly bowing the knee, kissing the ring, and you have to ask, what's this going to mean for how these platforms govern? Of course, for Facebook, it meant them saying, okay, we're rolling back our fact-checking program to go through this more community note system, which of course can be gained. But again, like, what's this going to mean for how you decipher truth? I mean, I remember just a few days ago being on X and seeing lots of sort of tweets going around, and I somehow managed to find myself in this sort of fake news wormhole. So here I was in this place where there was a debate going on about some random thing, and I'm reading it as patently just nonsense, but everyone tweeting about it was a verified account. I just thought to myself, this is so odd, because this is clearly nonsense what's been tweeted about, but like, verification has just lost its use, because what it's done now is actually conflate and really make it hard to decipher what is true and what is not true. So you do have to wonder what the rules are for all these new platforms and what this will mean for new media and our ability to decipher fact from fiction, emotional manipulation, fake news, these sort of things. So that'll be very interesting to take a close look at as well. And of course, for me, the final thing that I personally have a real interest in is in AI, and how AI starts to spread and become sort of commonly used. All the ethical concerns with AI, hallucinations, deep fake. Currently, apparently 46% of jobs are currently being affected by AI, or in the next year will be affected by AI. So very quickly, this thing that people kind of speak about in loose terms will start to make its way into the mainstream. Everyone will be using sort of these large language models, and they will affect how we do normal life, right? And so I'm really interested in what's the ethical framework around AI. How do we bring less economically developed countries along? All these different things I think we'll have to take a look at. So those are some of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing. We'll be writing about them at the Common Sense Network, and of course we invite you to comment as well. What are some of the things you're looking forward to watching this year? What political stories are you looking to see how they develop? What are your thoughts on what I've said so far? I'm really eager to hear your perspective. But of course, I just want to say, buckle up for what's going to be a really interesting year. We're going to do our best to provide and create content that isn't being made anywhere else. Content that's hopefully enlightening, that exposes you to ideas you may not agree with, right? But that's the whole point of Common Sense. We're not here to parrot just mainstream or to parrot left-wing or right-wing ideas. We want to be the home of exploring, where you see lots of different perspectives and you do your best to apply the principle of charity and hopefully learn. So thank you for being a subscriber. If you've watched this far, hit the subscribe button, join the party, and see you in the next video.